You start with a failing economy, your technology's in the dark ages, your ministers are incompetent, and your only port is frozen half the year. This is the challenge of playing Russia. But what if I told you that in just 25 turns, you could turn this collapsing empire into a modern war machine, pushing northward and crushing Sweden down to a single province, while also breaking the Ottomans' backs and seizing Constantinople and obtaining a backdoor into the rest of their empire, and build your window to the west. This is a 25-turn guide to awakening the Russian bear. Welcome back to Scroll and Strategy. But before we start going through turns, let's break down why Russia is starting the way it is. By the 1700s, the Romanovs had been elected into power from the Zemsky Sobor to electing then 16-year-old Mikhail Romanov as Tsar on February 21st, 1613. By the time we get to the 1700s, Russia is led by two brothers, Peter the Great, who we all know, and Ivan V of Russia. Due to the Moscow Uprising of 1682, with a demand for Ivan V to be placed as Tsar instead of Peter I, this uprising caused a compromise, which ended up having both brothers become co-rulers, with their half-sister Sophia becoming regent due to Peter's aid and Ivan's incapabilities. In adolescence, Peter resided primarily at Preobrazensko village near Moscow. Here, he would advance his knowledge in warfare and shipbuilding. He would conduct mock battles with regiments he formed from the children of boyars and peasants, eventually evolving into professional Preobrazhensky and Semenovsky guards by 1690, serving as his loyal power base, distinct from the unreliable Streltsy. As Sophia continued being regent in Russia, her campaigns in Crimea continued to fail, causing her power to be eroded among the boyars and the military. This allowed Peter to rally his guards and allies, staging a coup in August of 1689. Sophia was deposed and forcibly tonsured as a nun named Susanna, effectively ending her political influence. Peter's mother, Natalia Nereshkina, took a de facto regency until her death in 1695, after which Peter exercised greater autonomy while still sharing rule with the ineffective Ivan V until his death a year later. By 1697, Peter started the Grand Embassy, a Russian diplomatic mission to Western Europe. Its dual aims encompass negotiating alliances against the Ottoman Empire in support of Russia's Azov campaigns and systematically acquiring Western European technological expertise. With a focus on shipbuilding, manufacturing, and military organization, Peter attended under the name Peter Mikhailov, so that way he evaded formal protocol and was able to immerse directly into the practical learning. 3 years later, Peter was embroiled with the Great Northern War. But he was not alone. Alongside with Russia, the Kingdom of Denmark, Norway, and Poland-Lithuania. The war stemmed from the coalition's ambitions to partition the Swedish-dominated Baltic territories, challenging Stockholm's hegemony. Early battles during the war went poor for Russia, as during the Battle of Narva in 1700s, Charles XII was able to rout a larger Russian force, showing the power that the Swedish army had. The war and the overconfidence of King Charles of Sweden caused a drain on resources and strategic overextension. The turning point for the war was during the Battle of Poltava in 1709, where Russian forces decisively defeated the invading Swedish army and shattered the Swedish offensive. This allowed Peter to mobilize his force and secure his Baltic dominance. The war continued until 1721, when the Treaty of Nystad, under which Sweden seceded Livonia, Estonia, Ingria, and parts of Karelia to Russia, allowing Russia to emerge as a great power with control over key Baltic outlets. As we go through our turns, we're going to break them down into 3 specific categories: administrative actions, economic actions, and military actions. I'm going to try to keep it in that order. There might be 1 or 2 things where we have to do a military prior to an economic action. For turn 1, we're going to adjust our ministers. We want to put the highest one in our head, the second in treasury, and third in the army. So as you can see, we're going to get +1 prestige, +4 diplomatic relations, and +2 turn town wealth to home theater. We get all these bonus stats for our treasury, and we're also going to be reducing our major costs, which is going to be recruitment for all land units and upkeep for those armies. We're also going to take our gentleman, wherever he is. We're going to take our gentleman, put him into our school. We will start research with common land enclosures. We're going to take our missionary right behind Muscovy here. He is going to go to Crimea. We're going to talk to the Ottomans and sell Don Voisko for about 7,000. Well, bam! Now we have additional capital in order to do our economic actions. We're going to take our rake and move them to Riga, so we can keep an eye on there. Just going to infiltrate. All right, for economic actions, we are going to start in Muscovy, and we're going to build a farm, and we're going to build a conservatorium. In Ukraine, we're going to do our iron mine, as well as a barracks and another conservatorium. In Astrakhan, we're going to do a farm in the north and build the infrastructure for the region. In Bashkiria, we are going to do both of the farms and do the roads. And in Tataria, we are going to do the iron mine, farm, and roads here as well. For our military actions, we're going to take our army in Ukraine and the one outside of it and meet them together so that they can go take Crimea. Our army near St. Petersburg is going to chill out in St. Petersburg, and this army in Muscovy is going to join them. In Ukraine, we are going to start our recruitment for another army, doing 2 demi cannons, 2 Cossack infantry, and 2 Gordiskis. Over in Astrakhan, we are going to also recruit 3 Cossack infantries. We're also going to go to Sweden and attempt to do a trade agreement. We'll counteroffer with their payment and do 240. For turn 2, we have 0 administrative actions. For economic actions, we're going to build the iron workshop in Muscovy and the iron workshop in Ukraine. For military actions, we're going to move our army closer to take Crimea, as well as shift up this army into our second one that is protecting against Sweden. We're also going to recruit in this army 1 line infantry and 1 Cossack, leaving us with 60 gold. And that is it for turn 2. For turn 3, we're going to conduct a military action first here, so that way we can then go back to the top and do our administrative. Seizing Crimea through an auto resolve. Now that we've taken Crimea, we are going to burn down the military and governor's encampment. And we are going to open up diplomacy really quick and go to the Confederacy, see if they would like a trade agreement. Fantastic. We're also going to go to Great Britain and conduct a trade agreement as well. And they would like 720, which is cheaper than the last playthrough. We're going to take this deal so that way we actually gain another trade agreement. And now for economic actions. In Muscovy, we are going to build one of our weavers' cottages, as well as an opera house. For our military actions in Ukraine, we are going to add some more to the recruitment stack. We're going to do 2 regiment of horses and 2 additional Cossack infantries. For turn 4, we're going to go right into our economic actions and go to Arkhangelsk and build one of our fur markets. We're also going to go down to Crimea and build a magistrate. In Astrakhan, we're going to build a governor's residence, and in Tataria, we are also going to build a governor's residence. For recruitment, we're going to go to Astrakhan, and we are going to put a general in this army, as well as recruit 2 Gordiskis. For turn 5, for administrative actions, we're going to go to technology, and we're going to research carbines. Our second administrative action is going to be declaring war on Sweden and taking St. Petersburg. Now that we have won our fight at St. Petersburg, we can move on to our economic actions. And that for St. Petersburg is going to be repairing everything. We're also going to go to Muscovy and we're going to build 2 farms. We're going to go to Ukraine and build 2 farms. Then we're going to go to Astrakhan and do its farm. Then we're going to go to Bashkiria and do those 2 farms. We're also going to go to Crimea and do its farms. And we will wrap up with Tataria's farms as well. It's a lot of farms.
Randall, there is a cow outside.
There's a cow farm. You're gonna find cows outside.
And for the last bit, we are going to heal our units in St. Petersburg. And on schedule, between turn 5 and 6, Dagestan is going to declare war. We're going to accept it because we have to, and they have no allies. For turn 6, we have no diplomatic actions. Moving right into our economic actions, over in St. Petersburg, we are going to build a governor's residence, a barracks, a conservatorium, and a cannon foundry. In Crimea, we're going to keep moving up to governor's residence, so that way we can eventually move this army off. In Bashkiria, we are going to also do a governor's residence. And lastly, in Ukraine, we are going to do an opera house. In Ashkran, we're going to add in 2 more Cossack infantry. For turn 7, we have no administrative actions. We are going to jump right into economic actions, and starting in Muscovy, we're going to do our Royal Observatory and also our last farm. In Arkhangelsk, we are going to also do a governor's residence. In Arkhangelsk, we are also going to build one of our fur markets. And we'll be doing the same thing in Karelia. Start of turn 8, we have finished our research in carbines, so we are going to flip it very quickly over to physiocracy. For economic actions, we're going to build the opera house in St. Petersburg. In Karelia, we are going to build a fur market. For military actions, we're going to start with our recruitment. In St. Petersburg, we are going to do 2 dragoons. Then in the army in Ukraine, we're going to place a general inside the army, and then take the entire army and go take Moldavia. For our army in Astrakhan, we are going to leave behind 1 Cossack infantry and shift the rest to take Dagestan. For turn 9, we're going to start the military actions and then go back to the top at administrative. First off, we're going to seize Moldavia with an auto resolve. We're going to repair the magistrate building. Then we're going to hop over and take our small army near Ashkhan and take Dagestan. We do have to fight this. And after we take Dagestan, we are going to burn down the military governor's barracks. In St. Petersburg, we are also going to recruit 2 dragoons, who will be taking the army in St. Petersburg and shifting it down to take Riga. For economic actions, we are going to build the farm up here. In Ukraine, we are going to build a grand opera house. Continuing with economic actions, we'll be adding a weaver's cottage in Muscovy, and we'll be adding the farm in Moldavia. In between turn 9 and 10, Austria decided to send us a trade agreement requiring 630. That's fine. For turn 10, we're going to start the military actions at the start of the turn, and we are going to finish up moving on Riga or Estonia and Livonia. We'll be able to auto-resolve it. And then we're going to repair. In St. Petersburg, we are going to recruit 2 more dragoons, a line infantry, and a streltsy. In Moldavia, we're going to build our magistrate. And in Crimea, we are going to build the governor's mansion. In Dagestan, we are going to build our magistrate. And to start turn 11 off for our administrative actions, we're going to swap our research to basic steam pump. And then we are going to also go into our policies tab and reduce our nobility by 1. We're also going to open negotiations with Persia and see if we cannot get a trade agreement. And they want a military alliance and indefinite access. That's fine. For economic actions, we're going to go to Bashkiria, and we are going to make the fur market. Then we will move on to our military actions. We're going to continue our recruitment on building up St. Petersburg. We're going to recruit 1 demi-cannon and an additional line infantry. Over in Astrakhan, we are going to recruit 2 Vyborni and a Cossack. In between turn 11 and 12, Georgia has declared war, and that's okay. Everybody's joining us on it. For turn 12, we've already dealt with our administrative actions as Georgia has declared war on us. For economic actions, we are going to go over to St. Petersburg, build our grand opera house, and develop the farm. In Riga, we are going to develop our farm and our Wadi house. We're going to move over to Moldavia and build the governor's residence, as well as move to Dagestan and build the governor's residence there as well. Alrighty, and for turn 13, for administrative actions, we are going to start with seeing if we cannot get a trade agreement with Portland. Sadly, no. For economic actions, we're going to go to Muscovy and we are going to build a church school. In Riga, Estonia, we are going to build our governor's mansion. And in St. Petersburg, we're also going to build a governor's mansion. And we'll repair the farm in Moldavia. For military actions, we're going to come down to Crimea. We are going to select one general, one of our cavalry, actually the better one. We'll take the demi-cannon, one Cossack, and one Gordysky. We are then going to shift them towards taking on Voisko again. Support, we're also going to shift over the army we've been building in Astrakhan. We're also going to heal our army in Dagestan. In between turn 13 and 14, Georgia decided to attack Dagestan. I'm going to actually defend this one. Alright, to start off turn 14 for administrative actions, we just finished up basic steam pump and we are going to swap to square. We're also going to attempt to do another trade agreement with Portland and successfully getting that trade agreement. For economic actions this turn, we're going to go to Ukraine and build our steam pump iron mine. We're also going to build the tenant farm in Moldavia. For military actions, we'll start with recruitment, placing one line infantry in St. Petersburg. We are going to move our units closer to Don Voisko in order to take it again. And we now have the ability to do that with an auto resolve. Wha-bam. Alright, that we're going to repair it. And we will rebuild the infrastructure here and the farms. For economic actions, we're going to start in Don Voisko, and we are going to upgrade the farms again, so that way they're kind of caught up with the rest of our country, as well as give them a governor's residence. Then we're going to slide over to Muscovy, and we are going to build our steam pump iron mine there. For military actions, we are going to take our army that is in Riga, leaving our dragoons behind. We're going to shift this army down to come to support Moldavia. We're also going to take our army over in St. Petersburg and shift them across the river, or the little break right here, and we're going to shift them towards Finland. We're going to take our supporting army that's over in Don Voisko and bring them over to Dagestan for support. As well, let's bring down the one extra guy we have sitting in Astrakhan. Start of turn 16, we have no administrative actions. For economic actions, we are going to... In Riga and Estonia, we are going to build the theater, as well as build the steam pump iron mine in Crimea. For military actions, we're going to continue marching our northern army to go take Finland, as well as shifting the army from Riga all the way down to support Moldavia. We're going to move our units in Don Voisko over to support, and we will fight this one. Sorry, I mean auto-resolve. We're also going to take the army in Crimea. At this point, we can move them to Don Voisko for support. Starting off turn 17, we are going to go right into our administrative actions. We have finished with square, and we are going to canister shot now. For economic actions, we're going to go to Tataria, and we are going to build the basic steam pump iron mine there, as well as the fur market. For military actions, we are going to finish, be close enough, almost finish, taking Finland, or we will finish the march to Don Voisko with our army from Crimea. Also flip off their tax, this assist. We'll continue moving our army from Riga down to Moldavia, so that way there's a one-turn distance, and we will take our army from Moldavia, and they are going to shift to take Istanbul. With our army in Dagestan, we are also going to push back against Georgia, fighting this battle. Alright, and with that out of the way, push back again. And we're going to spend what we can to heal this army. Not a ton. Between turn 17 and 18, the Ottomans are trying to take Moldavia with a single line infantry unit. We're going to take our army in Dagestan and move it towards Georgia. We're going to take our army between Moldavia and Istanbul and move it to take Istanbul. Lastly, we're going to continue pulling our army down into Moldavia we're then going to move our army next to Finland and take Finland through an auto resolve. We're going to take tax off of Finland and repair it. We're then going to go over to St. Petersburg and recruit 2 line infantry. For economic actions, we're going to build a governor's mansion in Finland, an iron workshop, shift over to Riga and build a governor's mansion. For military actions, we're going to start by recruiting 2 Goritsky Strelskys in St. Petersburg. We're going to take all but 3 dragoons from the army in Finland and shift them back to take out some of the armies heading towards St. Petersburg. We're going to take the army that's in Moldavia and shift it down to take Bulgaria. We're going to take the army that's almost to Istanbul and take it. We'll then shift our army that's close to taking Georgia and finally take that as well. In Dagestan, we're going to recruit 3 Strelskys. Then we're going to shift our dragoons into St. Petersburg.
Well, between turn 19 and 20, at least we don't have to deal with the Barbary States anymore. For administrative actions in turn 20, we have finished with our research on canister shot. So we are going to do improved grenades in Novgorod, but in our one that we captured over in Georgia, we are going to push division of labor. Granted, that way we get the economic ones, and we're also pushing quicker on the military. Also going to see if we can't get a trade agreement with Austria, and they went for yeah, maybe we'll get canceled soon. We're also going to go over to Istanbul and repair everything. Over in Georgia, we're also going to repair. For military actions, we are going to take our dragoons and get them into St. Petersburg for extra support. We'll also be taking our army that came from Finland and trying to push them. We're going to wedge them in between these 2 armies to try to hopefully stop them. We're going to finish the move to Bulgaria close enough to almost take them. Turn 21, we've had rioting in Istanbul, so we're just going to take off taxes. Hopefully that helps. For economic actions, we are going to build a governor's mansion in Ukraine. We're also going to build a monastery school in Muscovy. In Riga, we're going to add the Weaver's Cottage. We're going to pull Georgia off their taxes as well. For military actions, we're going to go to St. Petersburg and recruit 2 more line infantry. We will finish the movement into Bulgaria. We're going to fight this one. There we go. That's it. Ba-bam. Ba-bam. Right in the clam. Awesome. Well, we'll take them off tax. In between turn 21 and 22, France has decided to see if they don't want to give us a trade agreement for common land enclosures. I'm going to take it because I don't know when the fuck I'm going to kick France's ass. And also, I want the money. Starting off turn 22. For administrative actions, we're going to take our missionary in Crimea and shift them to Istanbul. Alright, so we're going to start with doing a lot of repairing. We are going to repair everything. Constantinople, we're going to repair Bulgaria. We're going to repair Moldavia. We are also going to build a governor's mansion in Don Bosco. For military actions, we're going to shift our army in Finland, or near Finland, back to Finland, because I don't think it's going to be needed to support these 2. Take our army in Dagestan and move them into Georgia. We're also going to heal this army in Georgia best we can. And in between turn 22 and 23, the rebels decided to try to attack us. So we're going to fight. And there we go. Alright. We are going to heal this army. It's going to process everything pretty much. And we're also going to heal our Bulgarian army. We'll also heal 1 unit in Georgia. Let's let Finland go back. And finish moving our Goritsky army into them. We're going to risk the army in Don Bosco to come down to Georgia. So that way, when Georgia moves off to take Armenia, Don Bosco's army will move up to assist Georgia. In St. Petersburg, in order to eliminate this threat, we're just going to launch our attack. We're gonna fight this one too. All right, and without cannons, we were successfully able to push back the Swedes. And we'll probably do it one more time. Auto-resolve this one, taking out their army, and this one is gonna go up into Finland. These two will combine, and I don't know if we're gonna get to it, but they'll be the one that kind of swaps around here to take Stockholm, and you can take Norway with them. And between turn 23 and 24, they decided to try to attack Istanbul. For turn 24, for administrative actions, because we finished with improved grenades, we're going to go to plug bayonet. I know we haven't done that, but let's bomb rush at the drill school. For economic actions, we are going to start in Bulgaria. We're going to burn this down, and we are going to build an iron mine, as well as one of their farms. We're going to shift over to Moldavia, and we're going to build the steam pump iron mine, and as well as build a governor's mansion. For military actions, we're going to take everybody out of Georgia except for the 2 weakened Cossack infantry and go take Armenia. We're going to auto-resolve this one. We're going to burn that down. For turn 25, we're going to build our economic actions over in Armenia. We will build a magistrate. We're going to build a farm. We're going to build another steam pump iron mine. And we are going to do the iron workshop. Up, bam. We're going to go to Bulgaria. We're going to build our magistrate.
A new era of Russian dominance has dawned. From our frozen heartland in Moscow to the newly conquered shores of Istanbul, our empire is ascendant. From our stagnant economy, kickstarted by the controversial sale of Don Voisco, we have systematically dismantled our ancient rivals. Sweden is shattered, having lost St. Petersburg, Finland, and Riga. They're clinging on to a mere 2 provinces. The Ottoman Empire has been severed in 2, with our capture of Bulgaria, Armenia, and the entry point into the European continent, Istanbul. Their European holdings are surrounded and ripe for the taking. Even the minor powers of Crimea, Dagestan, and Georgia have been absorbed into the fold. However, the bear does not sleep. Our strategy now splits into 2 distinct doctrines. Option 1, a 2-front war, maintaining the pressure, finish off Sweden by turn 30 to 35 to secure the north entirely. Simultaneously, drive the Ottoman remnants out of Europe and chase them deep into the Middle East. Option 2, the southern pivot. Make peace with Sweden and convert them into a trade partner to fuel the treasury. Then shift our victorious northern armies south to deliver a crushing, concentrated blow to the Ottoman heartland. Alright, that is a wrap for this one. Thank you for hanging out with me today. As much as we love conquering the world on screen, it is always good to remember the one outside is pretty great too. So I hope you get some time to explore, learn something new, and connect with people you care about. Until next time, take it easy.